Now the next topic is the process of performance appraisal. So the first step in the process of performance appraisal is setting up a performance standard. Means this is the initial step which involves defining of the clear and specific expectations. What are being expected from the employees. Means performance standard should be very smart. Whatever the organization are laying down the standard, it should be very smart. Smart, we can say, as for it should be very specific, it should be measurable, it should be achievable, relevant, as well as time bound. And these should be aligned with both individual as well as the organizational goals so that they all could sync towards the attainment of the organizational goal. Clear standards provide the employees with a roadmap for their success, and which also allows the managers to to objectively evaluate their performance based on the criteria which is being laid down by the organization. Now, second is the measuring performance. How the performance would be measured? It would be once the standards are being set up, the next step is to gather the other relevant data. Means and data and information means that quantify, or we can say which quantitatively or qualitatively assesses how well the employees are meeting these standards. This may also include matrices such as sales figure, it could include productivity rates, even customer satisfaction scores, or we can say it would include qualitative assessments from peers and their superiors. Right. So the goal is just to obtain a comprehensive view of performance across different aspects of their job. So the next point is evaluating performance, which means that with the performance data in hand, when the employer has the data of their performance of the employees in his hand, then the managers can easily, they can easily analyze and they can easily evaluate how well the employees are performing, what the employees' actual performance are, and what are the predetermined standards, whether the performance is matching the predetermined standards or not. This would also include comparing the achievements, their strength, and the areas for improvement. For the improvement of the identified during the measurable phase. Means the evaluation should be very objective, it should be very fair, and it should always provide insights into what employees are excelling, and means in whatever fields they are experts at, what and where they may need improvement in their development support. Now, the next point is providing them the feedback, which means effective feedback is crucial for the employee development and motivation. Managers should deliver the feedbacks that should be very specific, it should be very constructive, and also it should be achievable, which should highlight both the accomplishment as well as the area which needs the improvement. Means whatever they have accomplished, whatever their good areas, and it should also specify the areas in which the employees need some improvement so that they can be trained, they can take trainings and can improve their areas in which they are lagging behind. Feedback session should always be there. Means feedback session will always encourage open dialogue. Means it will always allow the employees to to ask questions, to provide the input, and even discuss their career aspirations. Now, the next point is developing the action plans. Means based on the feedback received, the managers will always be able, the managers, we can say the employees will collaboratively create the action plans. Together, they will work together in a synchronization and they will work together for creating the action plans to enhance the performance as well as the achieving the professional goals. Which means the action plan should outline the clear steps, it should outline the timelines as well as the resources needed so as to address the identified areas for improvement. These plans should always align with the individual development needs, means with the organizational priorities, and also to ensure that the efforts are focused on continuous growth and skill enhancement of the employees in the organization. Now, the next step is making administrative decision. Now, the performance appraisal results inform administrative decisions. For example, the promotions, their salary adjustment, we could say it would include their bonuses and even the other career development opportunities. Now, these decisions should be a merit based, means they should be very fair. rewarding the high performance while addressing any performance issues or developmental gaps identified during the appraisal process. Now, the last step in the process of appraisal would be monitoring and follow, which means the final steps always involves ongoing towards the monitoring of the progress and the follow up to ensure whether the action plans are implemented effectively and whether the goals are achieved or not. Regular check-ins allows managers to to provide continuous support, even to offer the additional feedback and also to make adjustments whenever it is required. Following and monitoring and follow will always help to sustain the performance improvement. Means the over time and of course over time it will always help to sustain the employees, those who are performing well, those who are productive for the organization, and which will ultimately lead towards the continuous improvements in the organization and higher productivity in the organization. Means through these points we can easily say that the performance appraisal process, it is a structured approach which always supports the employee development, and it always aligns with the individual performance with organizational goals, and it facilitates the informing of decision making to optimally to optimize the workforce effectively and the satisfaction. Now, the next topic is methods of performance appraisal. Basically, there are methods. In methods, there are typically two type of methods. First is traditional method and the modern method. Traditional methods are the one which were used earlier, and modern methods are obviously the ones which are used these days. Now, coming towards the traditional method, the first method is rating scales. Rating scales, it means that scales are a common traditional method. Means these are used to assess the employee performance based on a specific criteria. Criteria is laid down. Means managers, or we can say the supervisors, rate the employees on various factors. It could be related to their knowledge. It could be related towards the quality of work. It could be their communication skills. It could be the teamwork, and even and even the attendance using a numerical scale. Means their performance could be measured on a scale of 1 to 5, or even we can say their performance could be measured on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, each numerical rating corresponds to a higher level of performance. Means if we are taking a scale of 1 to 5, means the more the number, better would be the performance. Means each numerical rating will relate to the level of performance from poor to excellent. Providing a quantitative assessment, means which will help in comparing employees, and it will help in making the decisions related to the compensation, related to their promotions, or we can say to their training needs whenever they are being required. So rating scales are valued for their simplicity and for the ability to provide a structured and even a evaluated framework. Although there may be other scales, but this is someone which earlier was used, as it is very easy to measure the performance. Now the next method comes is essay method. Under the essay method, what happens is the essay method, it used to involve supervisors and even the managers writing a detailed narrative, or we can say the detailed essay about the employee's performance over a specific period, which was not at all an easy task. Means unlike rating scales, they used to numerical they that use numerical ratings, the essay method didn't offer the rating ones. They always offered a qualitative assessment that described their strength. It also described their weaknesses, the achievements of the employees, and the areas for improvement in a narrative form. Means a complete essay was written including these factors. This approach allowed for a more nuanced evaluation where the superiors can provide specific examples and even a detailed feedback tailored to the individual performance. However, it can be a time consuming because writing a detail about an employee, it is not at all an easy task. It was very time consuming for supervisors to write about the comprehensive details of the employee and the subject nature of the assessment, which was very difficult. And now after this came the checklist method, which was under the checklist method, it utilized a predefined checklist of behaviors, their traits, the task, and that the employees will be performing, and the expected performance of the employees. Means under the checklist method, superiors were, they used to evaluate whether the employees meet each item on the checklist or not. Typically the marketing checkboxes for each criteria, right? This method usually it was very straightforward, and it used to ensure the consistency in evaluating the specific performance criteria. It related to their attendance, related to their task completion, and even to the whether the employees are adhering to the rules and regulations of the organization, to the safety protocols of the organization, and their job related skills. It used to simplify the appraisal process, and it could be, it could be easily tailored to different roles of the organization. However, it also overlooked broader aspects of performance, and it failed to capture the nuances or context specific behaviors that contributed to the overall job effectiveness. Means this was not worthy. Now, after the traditional methods, which were not that good, came the modern methods. Now, under the modern method, first we are going to study the 360-degree feedback. 360-degree feedback, which means it is a modern approach, to modern approach to performance appraisal. Means it involved collecting feedback, obviously, from multiple sources. Means interacting with the employees, interacting with their peers, their subordinates, and even the supervisors, and sometimes the external stakeholders or the customers relevant to the organization. This feedback, it used to provide a comprehensive view of an employee's performance from various perspectives. Means offering the insights about their strengths, about the weaknesses of the employees, and even their interpersonal skills, their leadership qualities, and the teamwork. So it used to promote a more holistic assessment, and it used to foster a culture of continuous improvement and collaboration within the organization. 360-degree means judging the employee 360-degree, evaluating his performance in a 360-degree manner. However, 360-degree feedback, it requires careful implementation so as to ensure that the confidentiality, the fairness, and the constructive feedback, as well as the training for the operators to provide accurate and meaningful input. After 360-degree appraisal comes the management by objective. Under management by objective, or we can abbreviate it by MBO, it is called MBO also. It is a goal oriented approach to performance appraisal, where managers and the employees collaboratively set specific, set measurable or achievable, or we can say relevant time bound objectives which can be easily achieved by the organization. These goals are together, they are aligned with the organizational priorities and the employees job responsibilities. Now, performance is then assessed. Means after the alignment of these priorities and these responsibilities, then the performance is assessed based on the achievement of these agreed upon objectives. MBO also encourages employee engagement, their accountability, and the empowerment by involving them in a goal setting process and linking the individual performance directly to the organizational success. Means it emphasizes clarity of expectations, and also it encourages employees to, to stretch their abilities to achieve the challenging but attainable. Then after this comes the behavioral anchored rating scales, or we can abbreviate it by BARS, bars. Okay. So bars, it is a combined element of both qualitative and quantitative method by using specific behavioral examples to assess the performance against the predetermined criteria. Means unlike traditional rating scales, they always relied on the general descriptions. This also used the concrete behavioral indicators of or anchors that describe the varying levels of performance. For example, if a bar scale for customer service, it could include behaviors like getting customers with a smile and friendly tone, with anchoring ranging from never to always, right? So this method, it always used to provide a more structured approach to performance evaluation, and offering clear standards and reducing the rater bias by focusing only on the observable behaviors. However, developing and implementing these BARS, or we can say the behavioral anchored rating scales, this can also be a time consuming and require careful calibration to ensure that the consistency and the fairness across the different raters and evaluator periods are maintained. So these were all the methods of performance appraisal. Now the next topic is benefits of performance appraisal. The first benefit is employee development, which means that the identification of the strengths and weaknesses of the employees. That is, the performance appraisal helps in identifying the strengths as well as the weakness of the employees. Now, this information is always critical for for understanding where an employee excels and where is the area that he is lagging behind, in which area he needs training or some improvement. With a clear understanding of strengths and the areas for improvement, managers can now, they can provide the tailored development plans. Where this might also include the recommending specific training programs or the some workshops, or by mentoring the opportunities, right? So performance appraisal assists in a career path planning by aligning the employee's goal with the organizational means by synchronizing the individual goals as well as the organizational goal. This ensures that the employees are developing their skills that means which will be valuable for both of them, which means for the individual or the employees or for the organization in the coming future. Now, the next benefit is it enhances the communication. Means it promotes the open dialogue, which means a regular performance appraisals. It always promote the open communication between the managers and the employees. Now, the ongoing dialogue that helps in building the trust and the understanding. Through performance appraisals, managers can clarify job expectations, they can clarify the performance standards, and which ensures that the employees know what is expected from them. Now, feedback can also be discussed by the of their performance. Advice can be sought and can be expressed that the concerns of aspirations are achieved or not. Now, next comes the increased motivation, which means to recognize the rewards, recognition and providing the rewards means recognizing, and we can say the rewarding employees for their performance. It is very important because it helps in boosting their morale, their satisfaction. It always motivates them towards the better performance in future. Now, setting under the recognition and awards means setting clear and achievable goals during the appraisal gives employees something to strive for. Means not setting the standards or not setting the criterias which are difficult to achieve. The goals should be set very clearly. The goal should be very smart, or clarity should be there, so that the motivation is always increased towards the better performance. Now, performance appraisal can even highlight the opportunities for career advancement, means which will always motivate the employees to to improve and achieve their career goals. Now comes the fourth benefit is better decision making, which means the performance appraisal always provides the objectives data that can support various HR decisions, including the promotions, including their salary adjustments, and even the bonuses. It always highlights the, or we can say it identifies the high performance. Okay, they help in just identifying the high performers who can be groomed for leadership roles or other critical positions within the organization. Now, proper resource allocation should always be there. Means appraisal helps in making the informed decisions about what or where to allocate resources for training and development, ensuring that investments are made in the areas that will yield the best return in the future. Now comes the fifth benefit, which is improved performance. Means it always focuses on the key areas. Performance appraisal always help the employees to focus on the key performance areas by providing them the clear and specific feedback on where improvement is needed. by setting the performance goals and regular reviewing of their performance appraisal always encourages a culture of continuous improvement within the organization. It also holds the employees accountable for their performance, means which can drive them to consistently meet or exceed their performance standards. Now comes the challenges of performance appraisal. Our next topic is challenges of performance appraisal. Now the first is bias and subjectivity, which means that personal biasness should not be there. It could be there, means obviously when it would be there, it would benefit few of the employees. For example, appraisal can be influenced by personal bias of the evaluator. Means if the evaluator is biased, or if he has a liking towards certain employees, then obviously the decisions would always be biased. Means such for example, favoritism should not be there, prejudices or even the stereotypes should not be there, because this could lead to the unfair evaluation. Means performance rating can, it can sometimes be based on the subjective judgments rather than the objective criteria, leading to inconsistencies and even the potential unfairness. Now one positive trait of an employee may disappropriately influence the overall appraisal, means overshadowing the areas where the employee may need some improvement. Now the next point is lack of clear standards, means clarity is not there regarding the standards, which means that without clear and specific performance standards, appraisal can be inconsistent or they can be unachievable, right? So employees may be rated differently based on vague, or we can say the unambiguous criteria. These standards leading to inconsistencies or unachievement in the performance or the organizational goals. And if even if the performance standards are not clear or they are not communicated very clearly, how can the employees achieve them? Employees will always not understand what is expected out of them, which will always result in the poor performance and hence the dissatisfaction or the reduction in the manufacturing process. Now, the next is resistance from employees, which means that fear of negative feedback is always there, which means employees may resist that the appraisal process due to fear of receiving the negative feedback. They might be in a fear, or out of fear they may deny or they may resist the appraisal process, which would be demotivating if not handled constructively. Which means that if employees perceive the appraisal process as unfair or biased, means they would always become disengaged or will always be demotivated towards the process. Resistance can always stem from a lack of trust in the appraisal system or the individual conducting the evaluations. Now the next point is time consuming. Obviously they are very time consuming, because the preparation of the process and then the execution of the process, it is always time consuming, which means that the performance appraisal process can be very time consuming for both the managers as well as the employees. Means preparing for conducting and then following up on appraisals requires significant time and effort, which means that regular performance reviews and follow up add to the workload of managers, especially in the large organizations. Keeping detailed records of every performance of the employees, or keeping the detailed records of performance appraisal, and then ensuring that how consistently over the time has how consistently their performance has evolved over the time. It is very difficult for them and it will always be time consuming. Now the last disadvantage, or we can say the last challenge of performance appraisal, is inadequate training. Means if lack of training is there, means if managers are not properly trained in how to conduct the effective performance appraisals, the process will always be ineffective. Means poorly trained evaluators may struggle to provide the constructive feedback, leading to the confusions and even the frustration among the employees. They will always not be motivated, or they will always not interested in taking part in the whole process, because inadequate trainings will always result in inconsistent and even the unreliable appraisals, which will undermine the credibility of the performance management system. Therefore, after studying all the challenges, we can easily say that performance appraisals are essential for managing as well as for improving the employees' performance. But when they come with their own set of benefits and challenges, right? By focusing on objectives like assessment, the clear communication was there, why continuous development was there, or organization can always harness the benefit of organizational success. But addressing the challenges, it always requires consistency towards addressing these challenges. Now, after these, we'll come to the case studies. Now, the first case study is about performance appraisal in a corporate setting. Now, let us study what the case study says. ABC Corporation conducts annual performance appraisal to assess employee contribution and provide feedback. Right? Scenario recap: we will see Sarah is a marketing manager, is due from her annual performance appraisal. So now the questions out of the case studies are: what are the objectives of Sarah's performance appraisal? Who is Sarah? She is a marketing manager, but her performance appraisal is due from a very long time, or from annual time, from a year her performance appraisal is pending. So what are the objectives of Sarah's performance appraisal? What would it be? The objective could be that there would be many objectives, means it would be assessing the achievement, it would be identifying the strengths as well as the areas of improvement of Sarah, and even providing her the constructive feedback and discussing about her career development. Now, reviewing Sarah's performance against the goals and objectives of her role, such as achieving the sales target and even the launching of successful marketing campaigns and contributing towards the revenue of growth. Identifying Sarah's strength like leadership skills, innovative thinking, and client relationship management, and the areas in which she needs improvement, which could be communication with cross-functional teams or strategic planning. After assessing this, offering constructive feedback on Sarah's performance, manager should go through everything. Means why the performance appraisal is due, why is it pending? There could be certain areas in which she is lagging behind. So everything should be communicated to Sarah. Offering constructive feedback to Sarah means of her performance throughout the year, acknowledging about her accomplishments and even addressing any performance gap or development needs. Appreciation would be given, and the areas in which she is lagging behind should be told to Sarah. Now, the next question is: how should Sarah prepare her performance appraisal? Now, how will she prepare her performance appraisal by herself? Okay, so she would need to go under certain points, under certain steps. It could be reflect on achievements. She should identify her achievements, like reviewing her achievements over the past years. What were her achievements? How many things she have achieved? It could include the project she has led, or it could include the campaign she has launched, or even the targets achieved, whether she was able to achieve her targets or not. And she should gather the feedback from her colleagues, to conduct a feedback from her colleagues or even the clients, and it could also include the superiors regarding about her performance, means her strength on the areas of improvement. She should ask from her colleagues and from her superior. Now, after this, she should do her self assessment, means after taking a feedback from everyone, she should conduct a self assessment so as to identify the personal accomplishments. For example, the challenges whatever she has faced, and the areas where she believes she can grow. Now, after all this, she should reflect on her career goals and even the aspirations within the company, considering how her current role aligns with the long term objectives of the organization. Now, the next question is: what performance criteria might be used to evaluate Sarah? Okay, what is the performance criteria? So the potential performance criteria for evaluating the Sarah's performance, it could include achievement of her sales target, assessing Sarah's success towards meeting or exceeding the sales target goals whatever was laid down by the organization, and contributing towards the revenue targets. It could include effectiveness in marketing campaigns, means evaluating that the impact of marketing strategies she has developed and whatever she has implemented, including the return on investment on campaigns and even the brand awareness matrices. Right now, reviewing her ability to lead and even to motivate her team, foster collaborations across departments, and resolve conflicts effectively. Considering her contributions to innovative ideas, even to new product launches, and even to the improvements in the marketing strategies. Now, client satisfaction and feedback is the utmost priority for every organization. Means gauging the client satisfaction and assessing the client satisfaction levels and even the feedback received on the campaigns and client relationship which were managed by Sarah. This is very important, right? So the next, what does the next question says? During the appraisal meeting, what specific feedback might Sarah receive? So what could be the feedback she could receive? So it could be positive, it could be negative, or we can say it could be anything, right? So acknowledging of her successful leadership in launching a new product that exceeds sales expectations, it could be this, or it could be guidance on improving her communication with the product development team to streamline projects or enhance the collaboration. It could be anything, it could be good or it could be bad. Now but recommendation should always be there. After telling her, after communicating the good or bad whatever she has done about her performance, recommendation should always be there. Recommendations for leadership training programs or on the project management program, or to further develop her skills and prepare her potential future goals. This is very necessary, right? What does the last question says? It is, how can Sarah and her manager discuss career developing during her appraisal? Okay. Now, after reviewing Sarah's long term career aspirations and about her current roles, whether it aligns with the organizational goals or not, skill development should be told to her. Means identify the where to identify the areas where Sarah wants to strengthen her skills. I mean, it could be marketing, digital marketing, or it could be leadership capabilities. It could be anything, right? Exploring about potential career paths and within the company, and discussing what steps should Sarah take to advance her higher level positions. And lastly, feedback should always be there. Means creating an action plan for Sarah to implement the feedback, receive and achieve for her career development objectives. This was the case study. Now we will come to the next case study, which is about performance appraisal in a non-profit organization, or we can say in an NGO. What does the case study says? It is about XYZ Foundation conducts annual performance appraisal to evaluate staff contribution to organizational goals. Now, what is the scenario? John is a program coordinator and is preparing for his performance appraisal. Okay, so the questions out of the case studies. The first question is, what are the unique considerations in performance appraisal for a non-profit organizations like XYZ company? XYZ is a foundation, okay, right? It conducts annual performance appraisal to evaluate the contributions of the organizational goals, right? So the case study is talking about a boy, namely John, who is preparing for his performance appraisal. Okay, so the first question was, what are the unique considerations in performance appraisal for a non-profit organization like XYZ Foundation? It could be performance appraisal in a non-profit organization. It could include, mission alignment. Means to assess how well John work aligns with the organizational missions and values such as community impact and the social responsibility, right? It could evaluate John's effectiveness in engaging stakeholders or even including the donors and volunteers and program participants. It could be resource allocation, means reviewing John's ability to manage program budget effectively or maximize the impact of limited resources. Means it could measure the tangible outcomes of John's program, means in terms of community and benefit, in terms of participation, satisfaction, and the program sustainability. His performance should be measured. The next question says, how can John demonstrate his contribution during the appraisal? Okay, means what would be the contribution during the appraisal? See, providing data on a number of beneficiaries served means success stories from program participants and from the measurable outcomes received. These things should be communicated to John. Now, describing the partnerships, establishing with the community organization, telling him about the donors and volunteers to support the program goal. It should be there. Now, what is the next question? What might be the performance criteria used to evaluate John's role? Assessing the impact and reach of his programs within the community means including the participants' outcome and the community feedback. Evaluating the relationships with key stakeholders such as donors, volunteers, and the community partners. Reviewing budget adherence, whether they are adhering to the budget, whichever whatever is being set up by the XYZ organization. Funding success and even the resource allocation effectively, right? Now the next question, what feedback might John receive during the appraisal? What could be the feedback? It could be negative or it could be positive. Whatever is that, it should always be recommended or it should always be communicated to John. Like recognition from the successful implementation of a new outreach program could be there, right? Which has increased his performance, right? Or we can say the suggestions for enhancing the donor relations means to strategies to secure how the sustainable funding can take place, right? So whatever is there, it should be communicated, means recommendation should be given. Recommendations could be, it could be related to the conferences or workshop on NGO non-profit management, it could be on leadership development, or it could grant writing to advance his skills. Now, last question says, how can John and his supervisor discuss professional development during the appraisal? Now, what could it be? It could be like identifying areas where John wants to further develop skills, such as volunteer management, it could be program evaluation, or even the advocacy, right? Exploring potential pathways for John's career progressions within the non-profit management, and it may include roles in program expansions, fundraising, or even the organizational leadership. Now, after studying the whole case study, the detailed explanation provided a comprehensive view of how performance appraisal process can be structured, right? And how effectively it can be managed in different organizational contexts, emphasizing that the importance of aligning the organizational goal as well as the individual goal is necessary, and a quick feedback or a proper or real feedback should be provided to that particular employee. Now the next topic is career stages. Okay, what are career stages, right? So career stages refers to the various phases or even the periods that individual typically progresses through the during their working lives, means the different stages that an individual goes through in his life, means these stages are characterized by distinct tasks, by challenges or transitions that individuals experience as they advance in their careers. While these specific stages may vary slightly depending on the model or framework used, they are generally recognized phases that most of the career follows. Now, what is the first stage? It is exploring stage. The first career stage is exploring stage, which says that the exploration stage, it is typically occurring during late teens to mid 20s, right? It is characterized by self discovery and career explorations. Individuals assess their interests, their values, and even the strengths while acquiring necessary qualifications through the education and internships. Under this stage, it involves trying out various roles to determine the best fit in whatever the individual fits the best. For example, we can take example. Let us say Emily. Emily is a recent college graduate girl with degree in business, or she even undertook the internship in say marketing or say finance or human resource, right? To explore her career interest. Eventually, she discovered a passion for marketing and decided to pursue it further. Means the initial stage in which the student, or we can say the candidate, is very confused among what he or she should pursue in future. So he would go toward different fields, and in whatever he fits well, or in the whatever he finds the best interest, he would pursue that career in future. Now, after the exploration stage, after the exploring has been done, then comes the establishment stage, which means from 20s to 40s, right? It starts from mid 20s to mid 40s. Now, the stage span is mid 20s to mid 40s, which focuses on achieving job stability. Here, the person wants a stable job, he wants to advance in a chosen career, means, and he wants to build a professional reputation for himself. He wants to secure his career. Now individuals secure permanent jobs, they could develop their skills, or they can even strive for the career advancement, means, let us understand this with an example. Let's say uh, John is working as a software engineer, and he has decided to specialize in cybersecurity, right? So by gaining additional certifications and experiences, he can earn a promotion to a senior engineer position, which will always solidify his career and his field, right? After the establishment stage comes the mid career stage, now which is from mid 40s to mid 50s. The occurring period is mid 40s to mid 50s. It involves a consolidating achievements and the reassessment career goals. Like professionals often face a career plateau, and which may seek new challenges and roles within their field. Means within their field they might face certain challenges. Now understand this with example, right? Let's say Priya is a marketing manager. She felt that she had reached a plateau in her career, means many challenges. Now she can't overcome that. So to rejuvenate that her professional life, she would pursue an MBA in transition, so that a strategic marketing role in her new company can be achieved by her, means gaining fresh perspectives and opportunities whenever the person facing challenges, or we can say he's or she is not satisfied in his or her job, they may want to to pursue new skills, new set of skills. They might want to do new certification courses so as to change their career line. Then comes the late career stage, which is from mid 50s to till the retirement. It focuses on maintaining the productivity, means preparing for the retirement. Here the person is preparing for his or her retirement. Professionals often take on mentoring roles, they're guiding younger employees and even reflecting on their career achievements. Let us understand it with an example. Let's say Shubham is a senior executive in a finance industry, right? So he began delegating responsibilities and mentoring the junior colleagues as he prepares for retirement. Means, for example, if I am in the late career stage and I know I have to retire, so what would I start? I would start mentoring my juniors. I would, delegate my authorities, my responsibilities towards them, right? So that they can learn such things, and after I am gone, after my retirement, they can pursue those tasks. Under this stage, the particular person, let's say we have taken example of Shubham. In that case, Shubham will also start thinking or start planning for his post career life or post retirement life, right? Which will ensure a smooth transition in his life, right? The last stage comes is the last stage which comes is decline, or we can say the retirement stage, right? So this is the final stage, or we can say the decline or the retirement stage, which begins when an individual retires from active work. Now the person has been retired from his job. Now the focus shift towards the personal interest, means after the work has been done, after the person has been retired, now he will be only focused towards his personal interest, which could be it could be related to his or her hobbies, or enjoying the fruits, or even going on a trip, right? So retirees may also engage in volunteer work, means, or part-time consultancy, right, to stay active and contribute their expertise, right? So for example, let's say Radhika is a retired healthcare administrator, right? So now she enjoys gardening and traveling, and she volunteers at a local non-profit organization. Means the person can contribute towards the NGO using her skills so as to support the fundraising efforts in that NGO. So after studying all the stages, we can conclude that understanding of the career stage is very crucial for both employees as well as for the employers, because it helps individuals to plan their career paths, like setting the realistic goals, or we can say seeking towards the appropriate training. For employees, it aids in creating supportive and work environment, right? For offering relevant training programs and even the retaining talents, right? So recognizing and addressing the unique opportunities and the challenges both in each stage can lead to more fulfilling the careers and even a more productive workforce. Now, the next topic is advantages of career stages, right? First is clear career path development, which means that individuals can plan and structure their career progressions more effectively by understanding the stages involved. For example, knowing the exploration phase, it helps in making the informed decisions about education and even the early career choices. Then comes the goal setting and achievement, which means each stage provides specific goals to achieve, right? Motivating individuals to strive for the advancement and their personal growth, right? So setting goals for skill development during the establishment stage, during the second phase, right? It enhances the professional capability. Third advantage is adaptability and resilience. It would relate to the third stage, which was mid-career stage. So understanding the transitions, right, between the stages fosters adaptability and the resilience to change in the market and the personal circumstances. Mean mid-career professions can navigate career shifts, which will always be better preparation and even the adjustment strategies. Now the fourth advantage is continuous learning and development. This would obviously relate to the late career stage. Now, it encourages lifelong learning and skill enhancement to stay relevant in the evolving job market, right? So, late career professionals can benefit from the continuous learning opportunities so as to maintain leadership roles and expertise. Now, the last benefit is personal satisfaction and fulfillment. It relates to the decline or retiring stage, which means that it facilitates the alignment of career choices with personal values and interests, right, which contributes to the overall job satisfaction. Transition phase allows individuals to pursue new passions, or we can say or new ventures for the greater fulfillment. After the advantages comes the disadvantages of career stages. Now the first disadvantage is rigidity and stagnation, which means that strictly adhering the predetermined career stages can limit flexibility and it can hinder the exploration of the alternative career path. Means strictly adhering to whatever career stages you are in, it may hinder or it may work as a limitation. Means it might ruin your flexibility in exploring the new career paths. Individuals might feel trapped in a specific career, like uh, sometimes we feel like frustrated in our job routines or in whatever we are working. So without considering other options, we are stuck over there and we do not switch or we do not explore the new career opportunities, right? So the next disadvantage is pressure and expectations, which means that the pressure to achieve the milestones means at each stage it may lead to stress and burnouts if not managed effectively. Mid-career professions may experience pressure because to reach the managerial positions or to maintain the work-life balance. Third disadvantage is market and industry changes, which means that rapid changes in technology and we can say in industry trends, it may render certain skills or it may experience your skills might be obsolete in that case, means which would require new adaptation of new skills, right? So late career professionals may struggle to transitions into new roles, means they might find it difficult to to update their skills as per the updated technology. Next disadvantage is risk of underestimating transition, which means that transition phase such as career changes or retirement planning, it may be underestimated. For example, it could lead to financial or emotional underpreparedness, right? Insufficient retirement planning could result in financial instability or post retirement. Now, the last disadvantage is limited recognitions of non-linear path. Now, not all the career follows a linear progressions, which means that non-traditional paths like portfolio careers, which may not fit neatly into the stage bond models, right? uh, like individuals pursuing multiple careers means simultaneously, if they are pursuing multiple careers, they may not receive adequate support or recognition in the traditional career frameworks. Now, after reading all the disadvantages, we can say that we have understood that these advantages and disadvantages can help in individuals and organizational better navigate their career development. It could mitigate the challenges and it could capitalize on opportunities at each stage of the career journey. Now we will study a case study, right? Okay. So there are two case studies. What does the first case study says? It is about Alex's career transformation. What does the case study is all about? Alex started his career as a software engineer at a technology startup, right? Over time, he transitioned into entrepreneurship and later pursued a career in venture capital. Okay. What are the questions now? The first question says, how did Alex's early experience as a software engineer shape his career path? We can say that Alexis has gained hands-on practice in software development, right? So honing in his technical skills and understanding of the product development processes will always be helpful for him in shaping his career path. What does the next question says? What challenge did Alex face during the exploration phase? Okay, so initially Alex must have struggled with the managing complex coding projects, right? And the adapting to the phased startup environment. Now he had to learn agile methodologies, new methodologies, and effective teamwork so as to be in an organization, so as to go with the flow of the organization. Third question says, why did Alex decide to transition from software engineer to entrepreneurship? There could have been certain gap which he could have identified, right? So it could be that Alex had identified a gap in the market and was passionate about developing his own software solution for that problem. He found a tech startup to address his need.